Hey guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to this video. This video is a bit of a personal experience video. Some of you might find it useful, some of you might just think it's stupid, but I've been umming and ahhing about doing this video all day and I just thought I'm going to do it because if this does happen to you, at least then you won't end up like me. It's about drones, and in particular Phantom 3 Advanced that I recently acquired from the well-known second-hand store CEX in the UK. And I bought it against my better judgment really, because all the things that I generally buy online from CEX either arrive damaged, either arrived missing parts, or just don't work at all. And in fact I've got about 30 emails from the last few orders I've done with them. Every order I know that the next day I'm going to be emailing them to say there's a problem with this product. But I ordered it anyway because I thought, well, you know, my Mavic I bought from CEX, and apart from a dodgy battery that I had to fight to get replaced, you know, the drone flew perfect, it was a decent drone, so I thought, well, not all their products are going to be rubbish. However, it arrived yesterday and I charged the batteries and I went to take it out for a flight, and surprise surprise, it wouldn't work. However, I thought, well, you know, generally, again, when I bought like an Apple Watch from CEX, it doesn't come with a genuine Apple charger. You know, they must separate them, sell them for a little profit somewhere else, and they send you these cheap Chinese knockoff. And it's the same with the Phantom 3. It arrived yesterday, not one set of props that came with it were genuine DJI ones. They were Chinese fakes or aftermarket ones. So what basically happened is, I'm going to show you now, I'm going to go through some of the stuff. This is me outside, and you'll see when I start it up, only one prop spins. And the error I was getting was motor obstruction, which is this one here. And I thought, okay, right, fine. So after a few attempts, it wouldn't take off, the motors wouldn't spin, so I brought it indoors. Now this video here, or this clip, is I've taken the props off and I've throttled up. Now all but one of the motors starts spinning, and then the second one drops out. Now it starts smoking, and I tried turning it off through the battery, it wouldn't turn off. And I ended up having to rip the battery out, and as you can see, it's now smoking heavily. And in this next bit you'll see I put a thermometer on it after 10 minutes of waiting. I went to put it away, it was still too hot, so I got the temp gun out, and the motors were well over 170 degrees. Now if I hadn't ripped the battery out, the good chance that it would have caught fire, or even worse, the battery could have exploded and the damage would have been 10 times worse. Now when I ripped the battery out in that process, I managed to receive quite a lot of burns to my hand, to the point I had to have hospital treatment today, where they cut the tops off all the burns to drain the fluid, and you know, it's quite a mess, my hand at the moment. Now obviously, you know, I'm not going to blame DJI for this, because alright, it was probably an error with the drone somewhere, but CEX are supposed to heavily test their products before they buy them, and clearly that wasn't the case. Now I spoke to a colleague or a staff member at CEX, and he admitted to me that not all drones are flight tested because they're not allowed to. You know, flying a drone indoors with a load of customers walking around would be dangerous to the customers. Obviously in a high street you can't fly it unless you're a licensed pilot and commercial pilot and you've got the right permissions, so again they couldn't take it out in the street and fly it. So the chances are, all that happened with this Phantom 3 that I bought, it was powered on, connected to the app, cameras all worked fine, you know, so therefore it's a working drone, they've bought it. Now I'm not saying that's what happened, anything could have happened between them buying it and them sending it to me, but in my opinion that's what's happened. They haven't tested it fully and it's arrived. Now I have tested it fully and it's blown up on me. So what now? Well, obviously I took the drone straight back to my local store, which is still a 2-hour round trip for me to get to Barnstable, drop it off, come back. So it was a right nightmare taking it back, but as you can see from that temp gun, even after 20 minutes of cooling down, the props or the motors were still 170 degrees. That drone superheated, and it must have been to be able to cause the burns to my hand. So I just didn't want it in the house, because what if the battery was then warming up, and what if that exploded, because LiPo batteries, as you know, can be quite dangerous. So I didn't want it in the house. It went straight back. I got all the evidence I needed, all the screenshots, all the serial numbers, everything I needed to follow this up, which I'm doing now. Problem with CEX is they're quite keen to sort of say, oops, sorry, here's a £5 voucher, just return it for your money back. But in this case I don't think that's good enough. I think they've seriously neglected the testing procedure. I think, again, if it's a product or a company worth its salt, surely you should be testing things before it goes out the door as well. You might test it when it comes in, test it before it goes out, because if you can say you've tested it and you've got footage of it being tested before you ship it, and then the customer says, oh, it's faulty, then maybe you can blame the courier for the way it's handled. Do you know what I mean? So just to say, unfortunately it's a faulty product, it's just, drones, especially with DJI as well, their products are quality. So what happened to this drone? What happened to this Phantom? Needless to say, it's put me off the Phantom 3s. I'm not interested in flying a Phantom anymore. It's really put me right off. To go from having a motor obstruction to the motors just randomly spinning so fast that they heat up and they have a mind of their own, it's quite a weird fault. Even DJI, when I messaged them about it and put the post on Twitter, they were quite concerned by this fault. The serial number I've got, the drone was made in 2015, so it's not an old drone at all. It's like 4 years old, 5 years old. So, what happened with this drone? But I just wanted to share this with you. If you ever get a motor fault, I would speak to DJI rather than trying to fix it or examine the fault further, because that's all I done. Is I just wanted to see if taking the props off would make a difference, and yes, it did. But it went the complete opposite way, from not wanting to spin at all to spinning out of control. So just be advised to be careful. The motors are very good, but they're also very powerful, and when they spin out of control, then obviously it's going to get very hot very quickly. And if I hadn't have thought, oh my god, I can't turn the drone off, I'll just rip the battery out, what would have happened if that had stayed running? Would it have caught fire? Would it have exploded? What would have happened? And I'm glad I didn't find out, to be fair. So the injury sustained was well worth it to stop the drone blowing up, basically. So that's my experience anyway. I don't know what you guys with Phantoms think. I don't know if any of you have suffered this problem before. If you have, drop it down below. It'd be nice to hear from other people that have had a similar issue. But yeah, that's my problem, and I'll put some of the footage in and the pictures in, and hope you guys found this video a little bit useful, or at least an insight into what can go wrong with drones. And I'll see you guys on the next video.